A very good evening to everyone, and thank you for tuning into My TV. You're with me, Jackie, on Coffee Break for another interesting episode. Wallace and Fortuna Pacific Mini Games is just around the corner, and tonight I have here with me is Miss Alini Rambitu Sovu, Chef de Mission, Team Fiji. So let's find out what's happening in the preparations for the games. Good evening, Alini, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Jackie.
So tell me, Fastanok, how's the preparations going for the Pacific Mini Games?
Thank you. The preparation is going on well. In any game that Team Fiji participate in, whether it's Pacific Games or the Pacific Mini Games, it's a collaboration of three parties: the National Federation, the National Federation, that's the sporting federations, the government, and Fastanok. That's in terms of funding. The national federations give a third, the government gives in the third, and Fastanok through the Olympic Solidarity Funding, they give the third. And at this point in time, I would like to thank the government. They have given their 1/3, which has enabled our sports to prepare the athletes. We're only 46 days away from the games.
Yeah. How's it going?
All right, with the funding that the government has given their third and Fastanok has given their third, the sporting federations have requested for funding to assist the preparation of the athletes for the mini games.
Okay. And so how many teams are going down? And from which
sports?
Yeah, which sports?
Yeah, there's 8 sports that are hosted by Wallace and Fortuna. Athletics and para sports, the beach volleyball, rugby. It's only the men's 7s is going.
How come the ladies are not going?
That's a good question.
Is it because of they didn't win?
No, apparently it's got nothing to do with the participation. It's the recent participation. At this point, only the men were registered to play, the men's 7s. We have, I've mentioned the beach volleyball, the rugby, we have taekwondo, we have sailing, va'a, indoor volleyball. Unfortunately, the men's indoor is not participating, it's only the women's, and weightlifting. There's 8 sports here.
8 sports. So how come it's only 8 sports?
Apparently, it's a host country prerogative to host the number of sports that they are comfortable in hosting. So for Wallace and Fortuna, they're only comfortable in hosting 8 sports. So that's why the 8 sports are participating in the mini games.
Okay. So apart from Fiji, what other countries are we going to be competing against?
In total, there will be about 22 countries in the Pacific that will be participating in the 8 sports, and Fiji is included in the 22. Yeah. Okay.
And so you liaison with like all the teams, all the sporting.
Yes, the Team Fiji, with those respective sports that I have mentioned, the 8 sports, they have their section managers and they have their coaches. With Team Fiji headquarters, we have general managers, the 2 general managers that assist me with the preparation, and the 2 general managers at this point in time for the Wallace and Fortuna games is Carl Probert and Kathy Wong. They are my 2 general managers. And the sports have their own section managers, who are the managers, and they have their own coaches. With athletics, that's the biggest team that we're taking through.
How many athletes?
There are 25 athletes and 4 officials, 1 manager and 4 coaches.
4 coaches.
With the rest of the sport, it's 1 section manager and 1 coach.
And is everyone finding it okay funding, for the trip? Because sometimes, you hear about a lot of, athletes, they haven't fundraised enough. I mean, with what you were saying, 1/3 coming from the government and the other 2 bodies, I mean, why is it that athletes are still always trying to fundraise, for more money?
With the federations, the athletes, They all levied for this game is 1,000 per athlete to go and participate. The biggest chunk of this is the per diem that's charged by the hosting country, the Wallace and Fortuna, which is $50 per person per day to stay in the Games Village. Because of the food and the accommodation and all the things.
And that's all covered?
Yeah, that's all covered.
Okay.
The 1/3 that comes from the federation, that covers the 1,000. But for the preparation part, it's the government and FASANOC through the Olympic Solidarity Funding.
Okay. And is there a selection criteria, I mean, going into the games for the sports?
Yes, each individual sports have got their own selection criteria they follow in how to select their teams, their athletes to enable them to represent Fiji. Different sports has got different selection criteria. It's a whole process when it comes to selecting a team to represent Fiji through the individual sports. They have their selection criteria, and then they hold their own trials, and they name the team. And when they name their team, it comes through to FASANOC again, where they have the Selection Justification Commission, which looks through the team that has been selected to confirm that they have achieved or have in their selection criteria that goes together with the sports that themselves.
Okay. So with your role in all of this, are you in charge of like making sure that there's a medical check and a drug test, everything?
Yes.
Has that been done already, or?
Yes. For the medical, we've just had our final medical for all the Team Fiji that has been.
Did everyone pass with flying colors?
On last Saturday, we had the final medical board, and we have yet to have our team assembly. Our team assembly is the final assembly that we have all our athletes, and we give out their uniforms and all stuff and that's scheduled for August the 17th. The contingent will leave on the 31st of August. Yeah, the games in Wallace. Yeah, like I said, it's only 46 days left. The games in Wallace will start on the 2nd of September and finishes on the 12th of September.
12th of September. How do you think Fiji's going to go?
Well, you know,
you've been there from
all the sports are preparing their athletes to win medals when we go, and we have faith in our athletes and all the sports that we are taking through, that they're going to win medals for Fiji.
Oh, that's good. So, I mean, what's the next step from here, from the Pacific Mini Games? What would be
in terms of fundraising? We have our lottery that's going on right now.
What is that about?
The lottery, the Team Fiji lottery, is a fundraising that we do for all the sports, and they sell out the lottery books, and that lottery books, the money that they get, 50% goes back to the sports to help them with their preparation and their competition uniforms and other stuff.
To any sport?
Yeah, to all the sports that are going. And it has been open also to other sports that are not participating in Wallace. If they wanted to fundraise for their individual sport, they also selling the lottery books. And the lottery book draw is on the August.
And where can you get these books from?
It's there at FASANOC. And this Friday is the deadline for all the monies to come in. And with the lottery,
is the ticket?
The ticket is $2, and the book is $30. There's 15 tickets in there, and we've got good prizes for the lottery that we have. The first prize is 20,000 cash.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah, and we've got 6 prizes for the lottery, and we also have FASANOC sponsors that come in and support our Team Fiji in terms of uniforms and other stuff that we have to prepare for Team Fiji, and FASANOC companies for the In terms of the lottery that we are running, we also run a Partner for Gold together with the lottery. The Partner for Goals is in terms of companies, they donate $2,000, and in return they get 67 lottery books.
Oh.
So they just don't give the donation and they don't get anything back.
Yeah.
So they get 67 books, plus they go into the draw and they can get to 20,000 again. And they also have a separate draw for all the Partner for Gold. At the moment we have 13 Partner for Gold companies, and the Partner for Gold companies that we have so far is J.R. White, Graphic Equipment, Holiday Inn Suva, Marquand Apparel, the Tanoa Hotel Groups, Bank of South Pacific, Abacus Graphic Limited, Williams and Gosling, Fiji Guest, the Redox Limited, Leyland's Limited, Vodafone Fiji, and Irwin Elso Pacific Limited.
Okay.
They are all our
Those are all the
partners
sponsors.
all the Partner for Goals that have given 2,000 towards the lottery. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Oh,
that
that's
helps.
really nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me. Sorry, we've just got to wrap things up. We've just run out of time. But for those of you back home, if you want to support Fiji, you can buy the ticket, $2 ticket
yeah.
at Fastenal,
Fastenal.
right?
And also it's still open for the companies that wanted to be part of the Partner for Gold.
Thank you, Alini.
Thank you, Jackie.
Before we go into a short commercial break, coming up next is All About Dance, a dance group that features traditional and modern dance. So don't go anywhere and find out more about this group. Welcome back to Coffee Break, and for those of you who have just joined us, a very good evening to you. Vo Dance Group is a group of talented youths that dance with the intention to showcase the concept of traditional and modern dancing, and have extended tremendously through the years since its existing in 2007. And joining me from Vo Dance Group is one of our dancers, Mariah Tulomba. Good evening, Mariah, and thank you for joining us this evening. So tell me, what does it take to be a dancer on the Vo Group?
Okay, all you need is a burning passion to dance.
That's it?
That's it.
When can I sign up?
Anytime.
Well, tell me more about it. I mean, when did you guys first start? How many is in the group?
Okay. Vo was founded in 2007, and then in 2000, like it has been
From 2007 to now.
2007. So we're basically an independent company, and then we've been.
And you guys have grown.
Yeah, we have
so much.
grown. We've been traveling. We tour different countries, showcasing what we.
How many countries have you guys been to?
Okay, we've been to China, we've been to Indonesia, Malaysia, New Zealand, Australia, the
Wow.
Solomon Islands, New Caledonia. There's so many other tours that's coming up.
And this is the group, the performers,
This is the
the
performance
dancers.
group. Yes. that's
How many
right.
is in the dance group?
At the moment, we have 10 full-time staff, and we also have 2 squads. Like we have a junior squad, Vo Junior Squad, and Vo Pre-Junior Squad. These 2 squads were chosen from our dance school. We also have a dance and music school where
So the Vo Dance Group and the school are they work separately?
well, they do, but it's all under the Vo group. So basically what happened, and in 2011 we established the school. The main reason was that we wanted to spread the,
You wanted to teach younger
that's right,
dancers.
yes.
So you have a junior class, or?
We have classes from 3-year-olds to adults. So when we started in 2011, we had only a few classes, but we had only 40 students, and then that was in term 1. And then at the end of term 3, we had about 250 students.
Wow.
So we saw that the interest for dance at Fiji had grown, and and
It's really good.
yeah.
So tell me more about it. I mean, where do you guys get the concept for each dance that you do?
Okay. the main thing in Bo is that we need to go back. For each dancer, you need to learn your own traditional dance. So for the past 3 months, our dancers have been traveling. They toured. They went to Vanua Levu, Coral Island, Rambi, where they exchange, they exchange dances and they learned as well.
And how much time did they spend with the locals?
Okay, it was about 2 weeks. We had
2 weeks each in different villages.
Well, in Vanua Levu they spent a week, so they had a week and then a day in Rambi and then a week in Koro, learning and exchanging. The main reason is that at Bo, like, we take traditional dances and then we try and fuse it with contemporary moves, because we are a contemporary group and we want to do, like, we want to showcase something new. And yeah.
Okay, and so like, what have you guys done in like around Fiji?
Fiji,
Like, are you guys performing in Hibiscus or like for different events that are coming up?
We perform in festivals, we perform for private functions, we perform for weddings, and we also do charity performances.
So, all right, tell me more about the dance school.
Okay, we offer classes from 3-year-olds to adults. Basically 3 to 4-year-olds. What happens is that we teach them, they learn the musicality of like dances and how they're able to.
What's it like teaching them? I mean,
it's
attention span? I
very,
think I would go
very
nuts,
short.
but
Very
I
short.
love kids.
They have a very short attention span, but it is very interesting to teach them. And what happened is that they start learning at that age on how to react to movements, like following the words of the songs and stuff. And then they move up to level at 5 to 6, where we separate them. So we have the girls and the boys, and then the boys learn
Doing different dances.
They do traditional dances, hip hop, and
Wow.
they learn the basic hip hop skills on how to be boy. And the girls, they do ballet and like Fijian traditional Nike as well, or contemporary. And as
And they're pretty fast in learning all the moves.
they are, because at that age children absorb faster and they
Yeah.
yes. And then we go to set, like at the age of 10 to 11, we have it's called the next generation. That is where they have to learn.
This is
hip-hop.
10 to 11?
10 to 11 year
10 to
olds.
11.
So they learn contemporary and hip hop. Because at
Sorry,
the age,
why 10 to 11? Why not 10 to 15 or
because at the 12-year-old, like at 12, they are separated. They can choose either contemporary or hip hop.
Okay.
And then, so what happens is that we teach them on how to, the musicality and like coordination and all this. And then as it goes on, they get to choose which genre of dance they want to go to.
And what's the response like? How many kids are in the class?
Well, for class, we would say hip hop. Hip hop is it's our common, it's
Popular?
most popular class. And we have about 20 to
That's a big group. How do
It
you? I
is.
mean, I've seen the studio. How do you fit everybody in there?
It's a miracle.
Find a space.
They find a
Find a
space.
spot.
Anything for dance, they find a space, and
Okay.
it's the same.
And
with
then you have an
contemporary as
instructor
well.
in the front, and then
Yes. So they start they start off as beginners, like beginners contemporary, beginners hip hop, and then from beginners.
because I know in hip hop there's so many different, what styles. You've got I don't know what the terms are, but what I've seen.
Okay, at the beginners, we teach them the basic of hip hop, like just basic hip hop, and then they even learn to create themselves, like a choreography. So we teach them how to.
That's really good.
It is all part of it. So that happens at the beginner stage, and then from beginners they graduate on to the advanced. So they have to finish 3 terms of beginners in order to graduate, and then they go on to intermediate advanced, where it becomes like the choreographies become more complicated, the movements and all. So
And so from advanced, I mean, where does the dance group come in? The dance group is like separate from the dance school?
The dance group it's separate, totally separate. So from
So if from the dance classes, if they wanted to like, their main goal was like to be in that dance, group, how could they, like achieve it?
what happened is that we for every dance class we scout for
Potential dancers.
dancers, technique wise, and personality, how much they love to dance.
What about someone who's got the passion, but they just don't have the rhythm?
I started off as that. Like I had a burning passion for dance, but I didn't have technical training because when I growing up in Fiji, I was not exposed to this.
Okay.
And these kids are very lucky.
So
they
there's
have a
hope for
dance
me.
school. There's hope there.
Okay.
So yeah, and then we
Oh,
handpicked.
that's really nice that you guys give everyone a chance.
Yes. So we have the pre-junior squad, like I said, they are made up of like kids 7 to 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds.
Can I ask you, what's the response been from like when you first joined in 2011
2000.
or from 2007 till to date? You said it started with what, 50 students and then moved to 200, and then what is it now?
When we started in 2011, we had only 40 students.
40 students.
40 students, and that was for our music and dance school combined. It was only 40 students, and then at the end of 2011, third term, we had more than 250 students.
So what is it now?
At the moment, dance students alone is about, the dance school has about 280. That does not include our music school.
Wow, that's really exciting.
It is because
For a dance group like that's independent from what I heard, and that just started, from 2011. You guys are still considered very, very young.
good dance.
And from what you said, you've traveled a lot.
Yeah.
What are the plans for the rest of the year?
For our performance group, we have.
The performance group and the school.
Okay, for the performance group, we have 2 tours that's coming up. One is in Australia, it's for the Boomerang Festival, and then in
Oh,
November.
that's exciting.
It is very exciting. All looking forward to it. The dancers are trying so hard to fight for their place for that. So
Are you having sponsors to help fundraise?
no, we don't have sponsors. We're self-funded. We perform 3 times a week. So whatever money we get,
Oh, that's really exciting
yes, and then
to be part of something like that, to help it grow.
And then in November we have the Shanghai, the Pacifica Festival, which will be in Shanghai, China.
Wow. And this is your dance group that you currently have. They're performing. You guys coming up with different dances and different concepts of dance. Wow, that's really exciting. Sorry, we've just run out of time, but just to wrap things up, so for anyone who's interested in joining Vo Dance Group, how can they find you? What can you tell them? Or like, if they're interested in joining.
We have enrollments next week at 30 Devil Road. That is where our studio is located, which is in Suva. And yeah, so come on in, and then to enroll.
They can find you on Facebook?
We are on Facebook, just Vo, V-O-U, and it is like our page on Facebook.
And then you're in.
Shoot us an email. We'll be happy to reply. And we actually want our dance school to grow because our dance company, we're in so much demand that sometimes we can't cater for all the functions that we've been requested. So what happened is that we
do what you can. Okay. Well, everyone back home, there you go. If you want to join Vo Dance Group, hit them on Facebook. Poverty is an ongoing issue, not only in Fiji, but global as well. Tonight, joining me from Australian High Commission is Timothy Gill, who is the First Secretary, Development Cooperation Section, focusing on poverty alleviation in Fiji. Okay, Tim, can you tell me about poverty alleviation, the definition?
Right, well, definition is a very difficult thing when it comes to poverty because
Okay.
everyone sees it a bit differently from each other, and every country is different. In fact, within each country it's different as well. Some people like to just look at how much income you have. Other people like to look at what are the range of services that you have access to. You know, what's your quality of life more generally? Do you have good health, good education? Do you have a long life expectancy? As well as your income.
And then based on that, they
Well, based on, I guess the point is that you want to look at what the circumstances are in each country. So, you know, Fiji is nothing like Africa. We know that.
Yes.
And a lot of people, for that reason, a lot of people say, well, there is no poverty at all in Fiji. You know, everybody's okay. Well, probably compared to some of the poorest countries in the world, that's true. But there's still an element of poverty here, and we spend a lot of time in AusAid thinking about what that means in the Fijian context.
yeah.
In Fiji, a lot of people have the basics, you know, they have enough food, or they might have access to land. They might have, you know, a little bit of income. But what we've discovered in Fiji is that people don't have this kind of buffer zone between them and poverty. Any event comes along and it can really drive them into poverty. Sometimes that's just a funeral, so in the family, you know, that
So
can
you've
cost
seen
a
that.
lot.
Yeah.
So we did some research about that actually, and found that that was one of the most costly thing that people found. So
Funerals, weddings.
that's it, weddings too, sometimes health expenses as well. Sometimes it's a disaster. So you might be able to plant enough, you know, ndalo or catch enough fish in normal times to get by. You don't have any savings, or you don't have anything kind of put away, but you're okay every day. But then a disaster comes along, a cyclone comes along, wipes out all your crops. What are you going to do? You're going to have to kind of live on handouts or rations for a while. So I guess our aid program, a lot of our aid program is trying to get that buffer up so that people can, you know, maybe plant a bit smarter, plant some varieties that can tolerate floods or cyclones. Maybe have better drainage on their property. Maybe have access to a really cheap insurance product that can, which we're piloting at the moment, where people can, you know, pay $14 for a year, and then if the worst comes to worst and there's a funeral, they have $1,000 that can go towards that funeral. So they've got that buffer. It doesn't
So
send them
is this
into
all
poverty.
going on right now?
Yeah, this is all going on right now. Yeah.
And this is what you've done in Vanuatu? I heard you just came back from a campaign there?
Yeah, in Vanuatu level, we were actually opening our new office in Lambasa. It's the first time AusAid's had any office up there for our community development program. We've actually got one office around the corner here at Carpenter Street, and that's our Suva office. We've got one in Lautoka as well, and we just opened the one in Lambasa. Basically trying to get services out to the north. You know, the north is the poorest part of Fiji, and we really want to encourage the civil society
how is
to
it
get
the
services.
poorest part in Fiji?
Just according to the statistics, it's pretty clear actually, coming from the government's own statistics, from the Bureau of Stats, from the census, from the household survey. We got some analysis done, and it was very clear that
And
that
like
was
you were
the
saying,
poorest part.
based on the way they live, employment, right?
Yeah, there's not much access to employment, that's true. Not much access to services, but even just in terms of income and expenditure, do people have enough to meet their needs? It's pretty borderline up there, and even in a place like Lambasa, you can see a 50% poverty rate, so 1 in 2 people. There are places like Tongontuki and Tikombia, where it's more like 3/4 of people are really...
But why aren't they planting? Because I heard that, and I've also seen like the root crops, you know, very fertile land, because it's much bigger than what you see in the market here in Suva.
Yep. Yeah, I guess that's something we'd really like to encourage. That's a really good example, actually, Jackie, that if people just take the land that they have and plant a bit more, you know, plant beyond what you need today or, you know, in the next year, and think ahead, you know, see if you can plant, you know, even 10% more will give you, you know, maybe something that you can sell at the market. Maybe you can put that away, and then if worse comes to worse, you've got something. So we really want also people to access new kind of savings methods as well.
So are you guys putting out programs or workshops to try and re-educate, locals on using the land? Or the villages in
Yeah, that's
Vanarama?
going to be through our community development program. So that only works through non-government organisations, NGOs. So basically any NGOs that are trying to work on that rural development side, we'll be really keen to help them with what we call food security. Not just having something for today, but having something that can keep you going. That's one of the kinds of projects we can fund through the community development program that now has an office in Mombasa. But there's many others. I went to visit a project, a school where Project Heaven, I don't know if you've heard of Project Heaven.
I have.
It's an NGO that does hearing and vision screening in schools.
Hearing
and vision screening. So testing whether people have any problems seeing or hearing properly at school. So they basically go to every student in the school, give them a test, and if they have any problems, then they'll either, if it's something very simple, they can fix it themselves, or they'll refer them on. Maybe they'll need glasses, or maybe they'll need some medicine for an ear infection. So that was a really amazing project that we're funding up in the north, where they're just discovering, if you can't hear very well and you can't see very well in the classroom, you're not going to learn very well.
Yeah.
So,
and when did
and
this
that
start
puts you backwards in terms of your,
learning?
Yeah, your ability to meet your needs later in life. So it's part of poverty as well.
Oh, okay. And when did the Heaven program?
Project Heaven.
When did it start?
They've been going for many years, and we've also been funding them for many years, but we just began a new project with them to go to all the schools in the Northern Division.
And this is like a medical team that you bring over from?
No, this is a Fijian team, a team of people from Fiji, I should say, and they're basically extremely dedicated people. They don't get very much salary or very much allowances, but they go, they live in that place, and they're very passionate about that screening, and something like they do really well. So like I said, they can do maybe basic things, like maybe we saw them, one boy had a fly in his ear, and so they were able to just flush it out, and so he's better now. So, but other things, there might be an infection, so they'll refer them to the medical centre.
And what about, from what you've seen so far, in a couple of years, where do you think Fiji's going to be? Because I hear that Fiji's on the line of poverty. So, in a couple of years, do you think that we're going to, with the programs that you guys are putting out there, is it going to make a difference?
Yeah, that's a really big question. Look, we really hope so. That's our aim. We only exist in AusAid to alleviate poverty. That's the purpose. So we expect results from the money that we invest, and so as far as those go, we think that we will make a difference.
Is the government involved? Other NGOs as well, like trying to?
Is that?
The government, the government, other NGOs, other people involved in trying to, push this forward?
Oh yeah, the government is doing a lot about poverty alleviation as well. I guess we find that we can also work with non-government organisations and help them with their poverty alleviation work. One of the communities I visited in Vanua Level was with an organisation called Partners in Community Development Fiji. So they basically work with a community over a year to help them develop a really solid community development plan that they'll then submit to government as their village community development plan. It's not something that they've just kind of thrown together and written down. They've got to think really clearly, what are the resources we have at our disposal? What are the problems we want to deal with? How can we contribute to them? What's our priority? Are we going to deal with our health problems first? Or are we going to deal with the road first, or is it the drainage system? So they're basically working out what's most important for their whole village, and then how they're going to take that forward. So that was really exciting to see for myself firsthand.
Okay. Well, we're just running out of time, but just to wrap things up, with with the unemployment level going on right now in Fiji, how do you think? Is there anything that you guys are doing to
Yeah.
What are your views on that?
Yeah, that's a good point, Jackie. I didn't mention our health and education programs, which I guess are the key way that we try to help people deal with the determinants of poverty, the things that make people poor, bad health, bad education. We're trying to help overcome those.
And for those that are unemployed, is there a workshop or? Sorry.
No, that's a good point. We also have a program that's called Market Development Facilities. It's all about trying to improve job prospects in Fiji. So basically creating new jobs or creating increased income by working with the private sector. So basically that program will look at a whole value chain or a market in Fiji, for example the tourist market, and then try to work out how can we get more poor people in Fiji accessing that. As you know, the hotels mostly bring in their produce from overseas.
Yes.
It's really a tragedy because it can be produced here. So that program is trying to build up the size of small companies that are getting produce into the hotels and increase the size of those companies so that they can employ more people.
But then
So
of course we can't see the results but in another couple of years because of training and everything, right?
No, I think we'll see that coming through quite soon. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Should
right.
be over the next 2 years. We expect to see.
Oh, that's really good.
That program is aiming to create 15,000 jobs over the life of the program.
Wow.
So we'll see how we go. You know, that's our aim. But basically, it is about creating new jobs, and they've been doing some surveys in urban settlements as well to see what are the kinds of jobs that people in a squatter environment would be able to access, just to give them that lift out of poverty as well. And that hand.
Thank you, Tim. So let's put our hands together and assist in whatever way we can to reduce poverty in our beloved country. That's the end of another episode of Coffee Break. So please stay tuned to next week.